Australia is also incredibly diverse. And building a world set in Australia has allowed us to make a world that's also twice as diverse as Horizon 2. It's twice as many ecotypes, we call them, so the outback we all know about, but there's gorges and canyons, there's rolling hills and rainforest, the modern city of Surfers Paradise, and of course the Gold Coast, which Andy is skipping along right now. And visual diversity and environmental diversity translates to new driving experiences for our players. You've never driven along a beach, you've never driven into the sea, you've never crashed through rainforest in a Forza game before. It's a lot of fun. I think our players are going to love it. We had to do that because it's Australia. And we've also got a huge car list this time. You'll explore this world in more than 350 cars, which is kind of ridiculous. It's a ridiculously sized car list. 150 more than we shipped Horizon 2 with, and that has allowed us to stretch our legs in any number of directions. We have absolutely brand new cars like the Lamborghini Centenario, which I hope you've been able to see in person at the front of the Xbox booth. It is truly stunning. We have new vehicle types taking advantage of Australia's rugged terrain. I'm thinking about off-road racing buggies, I'm thinking about trophy trucks, and you can play both of those out on the show floor demo if you get the chance. And also, it being Australia, we've got really lots of iconically Australian heroes. They love their utes there, and we have chucked in a whole ton of utes for that authentic ticket. So lots of cars, beautiful world, also a lot of graphical innovation in this game. I'm going to draw your attention to just one thing today, which I really I'm excited to show you. You may have noticed that the sky as we're driving along, it's a particularly dramatic sky there. It is, you might not have guessed, a completely authentic Australian sky. That sky happened last year in Australia, and we were there to capture it on a custom-built 12K HDR camera rig. But we weren't just there that day, we were there all of the summer with that rig in the outback and also various places near the coast to capture as many skies as we could. But the real magic has happened back at our studio, where our guys have created incredible new technology which allows us to take all those sky recordings and build them into the sky sets, which then blend together in completely dynamic, completely realistic ways. And it means that the sky as you drive along is always changing and is always beautiful. And I'm going to show you what I mean rather than talking about it by just fast forwarding time. So look at the way these clouds move. They're not just scrolling, they're rolling, right? They're morphing and evolving across the sky, just like they do in real life. This is a great example of it, because these are little cirrus clouds that fold and unfold, and then they actually just turn into this huge weather front that literally rolls in. It brings some weather with it very briefly, and then it clears up, and there's a lovely evening and a beautiful sunset. And that is just one day. We have got bags of those days, bags of those skies. And what that means for the players, that, as I say, when you're driving around, it's constantly changing, and that sky, technically speaking, is one enormous HDR light source, which touches everything in our game. It touches the surfaces, the materials, and of course, our beautiful cars. So that's cool. We're really proud of that. That sort of innovation we've created there. And now let me tell you about how we've put you in charge, because this is a design, I think, philosophy you could call it, that runs exactly, completely through the game. It affects everything. We've done it in a number of ways. First of all, we have literally put you in charge of the Horizon Festival this time. Previously, you've been a rookie, you roll up, you work your way up from the bottom. This time, you are the boss of the Horizon Festival, which means you get to make all the big decisions that affect the festival, when to expand your festival, when to build new sites, what music you play, what events you hold. But this is about more than just the storyline. This goes much deeper. So secondly, we've created an entirely new feature called Horizon Blueprint, and it will allow you to play the game you want to play. It will allow you to create your own gameplay and share it with your friends. And we'll show you how, first of all, by showing you the world map. So this is our world map with Horizon 3, sorry. It's twice as big as Horizon 2, and of course it's absolutely packed with content. Now this is content we've made for you as game developers, and thus we think it's pretty cool. There you go, it's Halo Wars are bang on time. This will pass. So yeah, so that's all that content we have created for you, and we think it's pretty good. But Horizon Blueprint allows you to change absolutely anything about all of the content that you've just seen, and we'll show you how. So this is an event that we just saw on the map. default option that we've created for you, and it's a pretty cool championship. It works perfectly for where you are in the campaign at this point. But if we click left, we go into blueprint mode, and in blueprint mode we can change absolutely anything about this championship. We can change the routes it uses, how many routes there are, the time of day, the weather, entry restrictions, eligible cars, everything. You can even give it a cool name, and that's important because these are all the championships that my friends have created at this location. Now they're instantly populated into my game. They're automatically given this really cool generated poster which explains what kind of event they are, and I can play any of them instead of or as well as the championship that we've created on disc. It all counts towards your progression. Same goes for the ones that you create. You can do them and progress your game in exactly the same way as you would with the ones that we created. So between you and your friends and us back at Playground, there's a virtually infinite range of racing gameplay available in Horizon 3, which is cool. Everybody likes infinite, right? But that's only half the story with Blueprint. I'm going to show you the other half now. Blueprint also allows you to create your own gameplay challenges and share them instantly with your friends.
Hey Andy, one of your friends has sent you a bucket list challenge. Would you want me to send you a link there now?
So what's happened there is one of Andy's friends has sent him a bucket list challenge. And the bucket list is a list of really cool challenges that in Horizon 2 we made for the player. We've done the same in 3. But Bucket List Blueprint allows you to create your own bucket list challenges using basically the same tools that our designers have back at Playgrounds. And you can set the type of challenge, the car to be used, including its paint job and its tuning setup. You choose the music, you give it a name, but you set the difficulty based on completing it yourself. When you've completed it and you're happy with it, you can send it on as the direct challenge, and it appears automatically in the challenged player's world, just as has happened here. So this is sent to Andy by JB, who is an engineer back at Playground, and he's set it up here with the music, and he's given it a name, and it kind of feels like he thinks Andy's going to struggle with this, and of course Andy has been doing this flawlessly all week, and I have every confidence he will do so again in this session. And this challenge actually uses one of the new ambient gameplay types that we've introduced in Forza Horizon 3. This one is called a danger sign jump, because everybody loves big jumps. Horizon players love big jumps, and we've helped our players this time by identifying 15 enormous jumps around the world, and we've made them competitive. So the danger sign jumps now sit alongside our speed traps and our speed zones, and are also new drift zones as the ambient gameplay you'll find just littered all over the world, and you can progress your game by completing these in exactly the same way you can by racing. So he jumps off, goes into slow-mo, basically needs to land this on all 4 wheels, and it counts, it's valid, and he's beaten JB as he always does, and JB will obviously be notified of his abject failure. But what's really cool about this is that Andy could now share this bucket list challenge with his friends. Now, we're not going to do that today because it's a pretty lousy challenge, but the Forza community is incredibly creative, and I think they're going to create better challenges than even we can. And the ability to share it means that a great challenge can go viral, right? It gets passed on and passed on. We're going to keep an eye on that and make sure that when we see great challenges coming out of our community, we can actually publish them to everyone who plays the game. I think that's an amazing thing. It means there's infinite gameplay challenges as well as infinite racing. And it's why Blueprint really signifies the biggest design paradigm shift in Horizon since the series began, and it means that you are absolutely in charge of the gameplay throughout your game, which I think is cool. And it also, it's always bringing people into your world, it's always bringing your friends into your world, in the same way that Drivatars do. So Drivatars all around the world here, your friends are always kind of with you when you play Horizon. But for me, Drivatar has always been really competitive. It's always about beating your friend's Drivatar. We spent a lot of time as designers thinking on this game, what would happen if you could actually play with your friend's Drivatar? You know, like almost cooperate with them as if it was a real friend. A couple of features came out of that. One is Drivatar lineup, which I'll tell you about right now. As the boss of the festival, you're able to hire your friend's Drivatars to race at your festival, and when you do that, you benefit from the rewards they earn in exactly the same ways you earn yourself. which is great, but you've only got 4 slots in your lineup. So as soon as your lineup is full, if you want to hire someone new, you're going to have to fire someone. And then you're looking at your friends and which one isn't maybe cutting it in the same way that, and you're going to have that difficult conversation and fire your friend and hire the new guy. And what we'll hopefully do is we'll create a magic moment when you fire one of your friends, so it records the video, then you can send him the video of him being fired, which is great. Let's move on and talk about music, which is still an incredibly important part of Horizon. In this game, we want you to drive to the music you love, and that's a tough challenge, right? I bet even between this small group, we have very different music tastes. To try and tackle that, we've introduced more radio stations than we've ever had before. We've had much more diverse selection of music. We've got hip hop this time, we've got heavy rock and punk. But you know what? One of you is going to go, well, I'm still not into any of the music you've got. And we fixed that with Groove Music Radio, which basically allows you to use your own personal music collection, streamed through the cloud into the game to basically create your own personal radio station. We call it Groove Music Radio, and you can flick to his now. He's listening to Queen because he's a massive fan of Queen. In fact, he adores all glam rock. But that's just his taste. But he's driving to the music he loves. He's just put his MP3s in his OneDrive and made a playlist, pointed the game to that playlist, and automatically it gets streamed in. So whatever your taste, however diverse, however niche it is, you can listen to it in the game, which is awesome, I think. Finally, I'm going to talk about customization, another way of putting you in control of your experience. And we start with cars, as we do always in Forza, and we have overhauled our visual customization in this game. We have a huge wealth of new customization options. We have rally parts, we have off-road parts, we have more than 30 new wheels, which is probably the biggest refresh our wheel list has ever had, with much more cool, up-to-date manufacturers like Rotiform and 1552. But the headline is that we're able to apply wide body kits in Forza for the first time from really cool manufacturers like Liberty Walk, in this case also Rocket Bunny, something our fans are going to go nuts for, I think. And as if that wasn't enough, you can, as you can see here, you can customize your license plate, you can choose which horn sound your car uses, you can even choose the driver character, which represents you from a really diverse range of options. You can customize pretty much everything about your experience, and again, that's all about putting you in control of the game you play. Okay, so I said at the top, this is the most social Forza ever. I'm going to go one step further. I think this is the most social racing game ever, and I will tell you why. It all starts with Xbox Play Anywhere, which we spoke about on Monday. As a refresher, if you buy the digital version of Forza Horizon 3, you'll get the Xbox One version and the Windows 10 version for no extra cost. If you can play one, stop playing on that platform, play on the other platform, everything carries over, your save game, your achievements, everything, which is really cool. But what I'm really excited about is that we will be able to bring Xbox One players and Windows 10 players together in the same game, thanks to Xbox Live and Crossplay. And I think that is not only exciting but really important as well, because for me, Horizon is about having fun with your friends, and it should not matter what platform you or your friends are playing on. We want people to play together, and this is kind of making technology just fall away, and it's just about friends having fun together, which I think is great. And the best expression of this is a new feature we showed you on Monday, which is 4-player campaign co-op, which is something we've wanted to do since the start of the series, but never felt that we were in a position to do it right. This time we have done it right, and by doing it right in co-op, I mean making sure that everything that's in the single-player game and the solo experience can be played cooperatively with your friends. Nothing's ring-fenced off, it's not a subset of the content, it's everything. It just works. You can drop in, you can drop out, it doesn't matter to you or the other people you're playing with, the game just handles it. If you leave a session, you take with you all the rewards, the unlocks that you earned in that session, and your game automatically updates and deals with it. So you never feel like you have to play the same content twice, you never feel like you've wasted time in co-op, and of course you're always in control of who can join you and when. It's a great feature. We've been having an enormous amount of fun with it at the studio. You can always tell when testing becomes extended testing, you're onto something, the feature is playing well. And I think with campaign co-op, particularly cross-platform, thanks to cross-play, blueprint sharing, Drivatar innovations, and returning features like 1,000-player clubs and car meets, and instant online with no waiting and no lobbies, playground games, rivals mode, online. I could go on. All of these are massive arsenal of social features. We are bringing people together and allowing them to play together in our game. And I'll give you two final features with it, which I think people are going to be excited about, which for me seal the deal. And this is two features which are returning to Forza after a bit of a hiatus. Auction House and Storefront are back in Horizon 3, and they are better than ever. Now, if you're not familiar with Auction House, well, the name is pretty self-explanatory. You get to buy and sell cars with the community, player to player, buy low, sell high. You can find rare cars. You can also find the greatest creations from our really talented painters and tuners in the community. And it's also a place where those people get the credit that they deserve, right? It's a place for them to show off how talented they are. And in particular, if I see something in the auction house I like, I can jump to a player's storefront and see everything that player has shared: designs, tunes, vinyls, photos. I can choose to follow the player if I want to be notified each time they share something new, because I really love their work. I want to keep up with them. It's going to make celebrities of the people who do incredibly creative work in our community, which I think is great. And obviously this works across Win 10 and Xbox One, because it's play anywhere you'd expect it to. So the most social racing game ever. There, bam, I've said it. That's a really quick deep dive into Forza Horizon 3, guys. Again, I apologise for just rattling through it. To recap, the three big things. It's a game that puts you in charge. You can control exactly the game that you play. It is the most social racing game ever, I believe, with more ways to have fun with your friends and to connect to our vibrant and creative community. And it all plays out against this stunning backdrop of Australia. Thank you so much for coming today. Thank you for listening so well. I believe we have some time for questions.
Why did you guys choose Australia?
So we always look all over the world. We always drop a long list. We whittle it down to a short list. Australia was on that short list, and it was when we started investigating, okay, what can we get out of it? What sort of landmarks, ecotypes does this country have, that it really just raced ahead? It's about diversity. It's got twice as much diversity as the last game. And what that means really is that Horizon's about exploring, it's about discovering things, and in this game, particularly with the much larger map, you're exploring and finding so many cool things, so many beautiful things. It just streaked ahead.
And in part 2, we could adjust the difficulty to make it easier for most things, but the bucket list challenges were just that you couldn't do anything about that. There was one that I just couldn't complete. I never could. So is it still like that in this?
So our on-disc ones, yeah, will still be like that. There's 3 difficulty levels which we kind of advertise when you drive up to the car. There's easy, medium, hard. Our hard ones are deliberately really hard. They are all completable though. So
why aren't they affected by difficulty settings like all the other races are?
Do you know, that is a really good point, and it's because we want them to be a challenge more than an experience, if you see what I mean. The racing is something that we want you to be able to configure, and we want everyone to be able to get through. But when we put in a really hard challenge, people actually sometimes really love the challenge of just knocking it down. It's kind of old school, but like just grinding to get through it, and then finally completing it is something that a lot of our players really fed back as enjoying. But of course, with Bucket List Blueprint, you can create your own challenges using that.
That's cool.
With the fact that you guys aren't, well, from what's been announced, you guys aren't on Xbox 360, right?
That's correct, yes.
What have you guys been able to do, not having past gen as hindrance for your technology in the game?
Well, so Forza Horizon 2, the Forza Horizon 2 that we built on Xbox One was built specifically for Xbox One. Now there was an Xbox 360 version of that, but that was built by another studio. I think they did a great job, but they built on 360 tech. So our last game was unencumbered by last gen considerations, but it was our first game on Xbox One, and there's always a learning curve there. It's new technology, people are still learning it. I think what you can see in this game, out on the show floor, you'll see more of it, and you'll see it in 4K on Win 10 as well, which you cannot unsee. It's incredible. I think you'll see there's an almost generational leap between 2 and 3 in terms of visual fidelity, in terms of just the environment and the assets and the effects that are happening in there. And that's just about a studio finding its feet on a platform, getting used to the technology, working out how to really code to the metal and get the most out of the platform. And I honestly expect to see, I think games are going to keep going that way this generation.
It feels like 5 or 6 years ago there was kind of an onslaught of the arcade racer. I mean, we had Motorstorm, we had Criterion was working, I think Activision had like 5 different arcade racers out, and it's been winnowed down essentially to this series now. I'm curious why you think the genre has condensed, or if you have any feelings about why.
That's a really good question. I mean, you're certainly right. It's true. I mean, first of all, let me nitpick. I wouldn't call Horizon an arcade racer. We could probably debate for some time what that term actually means, because it's difficult to find, 2 people who agree exactly on the definition. But this is a Forza game, so the underlying technology, the physics simulation, in our game is as realistic and as authentic as that of Forza Motorsport. We soften some of the edges because it's all about having fun. It's about that laid-back, action-packed fun rather than serious simulation. But it's still pretty serious. To your point, it's a really good question. I'm not really sure if there is an answer. Some of the games you've talked about, there's still a Need for Speed series. Criterion don't do it anymore, but I think I couldn't speak to why that is.
I have a very boring technical question that maybe there's more of an answer to. But Horizon 2, fantastic game. I think I know why it's there out of making sure that you just don't cut through most races, but there are train tracks that cut the world in half. Is that a thing that will be throughout this game?
That will never happen again.
Thank you, that's nice.
Yeah.
There's the headline, no more train tracks.
So there are train tracks in this, and because there's a train, there's a train just travels around the world. But we have this time worked on the technology to not have fences around it. Yeah. We cracked that.
The strongest fences in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're not talking about it necessarily as one of our key messages, but for you, there you go. And it's you're the first person I've revealed
I
that
got
to.
that train tracks. Neogaf is flooding me with tracker. I'm drowning.
If you lead with that, I will find you. Right? I'm just saying.
Have the clubs improved any?
So the clubs are back. Clubs are great in 2 because it was kind of an experiment. We weren't sure if people would take to them, and people really did. We were amazed by how many 1,000-player clubs we got, and that's still the player limit. We're still encouraging that. And we were also, I don't know if you remember, there was a race to 1 billion XP or 1 billion club XP that a bunch of clubs were. I never thought we would get to. I was surprised that we even had a numerical abbreviation for billion. But yeah, a bunch of clubs had that race and got to it really quickly. But that feature is back. It's the same as it was, and I think, like I say, it complements this enormous suite of social features which are about bringing people together.
Can you import liveries and layers from other previous Forza games?
Yes, you can.
Great.
For co-op, I'm not good at games.
Yes.
And I'm always slow. My friends get very far ahead of me. If I'm level 2 essentially, and they are much deeper in the game, and we join, and you say that I can unlock whatever I get through that thing, it doesn't really matter where I'm at in terms of.
And that's a really good point. Actually, I should have made that during the talk. That's one of the fundamental things about doing co-op right. How I was saying we wanted to do it right. There's always that thing in co-op where you go, okay, here's 4 players and they are all of very different abilities, or they're all of very different points within the game. What happens there? The way we've dealt with the latter is that it doesn't matter at all. So there was one player and everybody else joins his festival, and it's at his current level. So if you're early in the game, everyone joins with only that unlocked. If you're really late in the game, everyone gets to jump in and see what it looks like when you've got 4 festivals all over Australia. but everything you unlock in that, even if it's really far into the game, you take back, and in your game it automatically just opens because you've done it. In terms of skill differential, it's a really good point. First of all, we kind of mitigate that by putting you all on the same team. So when you're, let's say us four, we're playing co-op, right? We are all, every race we enter, we're racing as a team, and therefore the scoring conditions of that race change to a team-based one rather than an individual first past the post. So I'm really great at the game, you're not so great, or vice versa. I've played it a bit. That's fine. I can race ahead. You still bring in some points, and our team wins. And we've all done it. We've done it cooperatively, which is difficult to achieve in a racing game, but it's how we've done it. So yeah, that's how we've worked on that. Also, the person whose festival it is can change all of the difficulty settings for any race. So if he's feeling generous, he knocks it down. Otherwise, you can play whatever he says.
I'm sorry, we have to wrap up.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
You had one more.
Do we have to play as a white guy?
Only if you want to. So no, like I said in
That's
there.
a question. That was a question. That's okay.
Only like I said in there. There are 14 different characters, the driver
okay,
characters, of different ethnic backgrounds, of different genders. You choose the one that reflects you, that you can relate to, that you like, and it's up to you. Yes. So no.
great.
And if you go out, you can see that in action on the show floor demo.
Very cool.
What's your name?
Paul with Windows Central.
Oh, nice to meet you. I like your costume.
Thank you.
All right, guys.